Okay.
Good gaming champions. Welcome to episode 3 of Champions of Tabletop. I am your host, Matt, and with me as always, the boys. We've got Dion, the friendly local game store owner, and we've got my boy Shay down there at the end, the aspiring developer. Welcome, gentlemen, episode 3. Again, nobody said we could do it. We proved them wrong. Here we sit at the throne.
I don't know who these nobodies are, but we'll get them.
We're gonna get.
We're gonna get them.
So I just don't know who those people you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't see
you
that.
don't need to know.
Okay, good.
They're there. They're haters.
They're haters.
Okay.
They're
Haters
giving us headlines we put on the wall that you can't see right behind you, giving us the fodder each week to come back and put an even better episode together for all of you. So with that said, let's not forget the all-important avenue of we are on YouTube and Spotify and Apple. We're getting everywhere out there. So please make sure you take those few extra minutes to like and subscribe all these videos. It means the world to us. And please make sure you go on and comment because, of course, that's what gives us the fuel to the fire to make sure that we know that you are enjoying this and building a community around the Champions of Tabletop. So with that, gentlemen, let's get after it. Of course, first, we'd be remiss if we didn't thank our partners for this week's video. We've got Trick or Treat Studios just in time for the upcoming Halloween season. And then also our great friends, I have to say that, obligation at Voss Media.
That's right.
Who host us every week.
Membership was going to be revoked.
Yeah, well, we do not want that. So of course, Voss Media, thank you for your sponsorship of this week's video. So with that said, let's get right into viewer comments. Even though this is episode 3, for those of you who don't know, this is actually coming out just after our first episode went up. So for context of this, so I wanted to go ahead and read some of the comments that we did get, gentlemen, from YouTube. I want to thank Brian for commenting that Ice Cool is a great flickum. Dion is an elitist.
I am.
Great show. Keep them coming. Just not with your fingers.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah.
That was probably at you.
No, he's given complete love to, of course, dexterity games.
Okay. All right.
And then we've got one from Michael here who says, Allison, she got me too, Shay.
Yeah.
Well, see, Shay, you're not the only one that fell in love.
I'm not the only one.
Simp.
I mean, sometimes simping be good.
And also, it's nice to know you're not alone. Yeah.
Exactly. That means competition. And what?
Hopefully, Shay's wife does not watch this.
Yes.
She does.
But there's also, sorry about that. There's also one other very important thing that came from the users, or I'm sorry, the community's input, and that is, of course, the poll that we put out asking the age-old question: are dexterity games like Crokinole, Beano, Pitch Car, many of these others, are dexterity games? Are they board games or are they toys? And I will say the board game, Shay, got what?
6 to 9%
of the vote,
right,
compared to toys, who got 31%. So how do we feel about that? The people have spoke.
I'll take 31%, first of all. So, because, again, I'm an elitist, so there's about a third of us that are actually real board gamers, and the rest of everybody else that is just
Well, do you know what a
gamers.
31% is? F minus?
Well, I'll take my F minus and run.
It's just nice of the affirmation we get from our viewers and our listeners. The affirmation of just knowing that we were right, but it's totally
people
fine.
don't lie.
And people do not lie.
They've got nothing to gain.
People don't lie. People do lie. But I'm just happy. I'm happy more of just people that's engaged with it, and we'll have more.
Yes.
Trust me.
That's right. So with that, now it's time to turn to everybody's favorite segment, Fall on the Sword. This is our chance each week to apologize or to correct or just to call Dion out for some of the things that happened in the previous week's episode. So this week, I've got one for both of the boys here. So one of the things that we noticed in last week's episode was Dion decided to just throw his shoe on the table and ask, is this a board game?
Well, yes, I did.
But what,
because you said it fit on the table.
But what you don't know is
oh no,
there's no smelling over YouTube or Spotify, unfortunately for all of you. But there was for us. So Dion, I I brought some fresh Force shoe freshener.
Just for me?
Just for you.
Perfect.
So that way you can save
The
us
people
next
at
time you
Voss
decide to
Media
play the
Board
game
Game
of,
Cafe will enjoy this.
Yeah.
Enjoy the fact that you brought me some fresh.
Yeah, and it's
shoe-
not used. So
Well, I bet you would be doing that.
And then one other thing I noticed was Shay counting. Yeah, right. Twos and twos and ones. So I made this for this week just in case you needed it. It just makes things real simple.
Yeah.
We're gonna put that in front of you so you can follow that. And,
So you know which ones are 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
I'm
and
already ahead.
And I will say this: I asked Shay before the show. I said, Shay, Shay's our wonderful editor, but let's not forget Brandon behind the scenes, who's our producer. But Shay, I asked you, was there anything that I should call myself out on? And Shay said, no, you were flawless.
Well,
wow.
Keep the remember the other thing I said?
No, I don't. So we'll move on.
I got you. So the other thing never mind. We won't. You know what? We won't do it.
It's okay.
It's okay because this is
what
a kid's
are
show.
what are your fall on the sword moments?
I mean, it's this, and so I want to give you my official. I mean, but it was 4, not 5. So I don't know
I'm
why.
trying to help you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
It's giving you a whole
Standard
count.
list.
It's
Thank you.
just-
Okay. So I'll put a 5 there. All right. Number 5 was Pandasaurus Games. Number 4 is Devere. Number 3 is Scorpion Mask. Number 2 is Awakening Realms. And number 1, as we all know, Van Ryder. That's what should be the list. I don't know why I didn't do that in the first place, but there you go.
All right.
I kept calling, and I feel horrible about this after watching back the video. I go, ooh, I totally messed that up. Portal Games. I kept saying Portal Games. When it isn't Portal Games, it is Stronghold Games, and I want to apologize to Portal Games because they make amazing games. So does Stronghold, but if Stronghold does go into, I got mini kind of a flashback from last week. I talked to a lot of my guys that are in the art industry, and they all told me if I purchase any more of Stronghold games that they will disown me as friends because they're all artists, and they said that you should not purchase any of that moving forward. So I am fully against art, fully against it from AI. AI art, none, bad, horrible. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
I did my fall on the sword.
Wow.
Yes.
So I think that brings up that's a perfect segue into the industry news because that was actually one of the hot topics at SPIEL Essen. The biggest board game convention in the world is that all of the art that they used was made by AI. I don't know if
I
you
seen
heard
that. Yeah, I seen that.
So of course we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the biggest event in all of board gaming, which is SPIEL Essen. Of course, it takes place in Germany every year. I thankfully just got back. Thankfully, I flew the plane back, all thanks to some really handy dice rolls that I had. I flew from Munich to Detroit, DTW.
Are you pilots in the game?
You are pilots?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were like the air traffic control
No,
people.
your co-pilot's just trying to land the plane.
Oh,
So
that's
thankfully
cool. All right.
to some wonderful dice rolls, I landed safely back here, and I was able to come back for today's show. It's a terrible joke. We'll get better.
It is horrible joke. In
Better,
fact, we need to go back to Fall on the Sword already this week.
So with that said, SPIEL Essen had about 200,000 people who showed up. So for all of you out there who may have gone to Gen Con, that I think hit about 70,000. So with that said, I think the first question starts with, has board gaming arrived?
I don't think it's gone anywhere. I think it is extremely popular, and especially after we were having a conversation pre-show. Anyway, that have they gotten better, or have they always just been here and people are just noticing it more, right? And that's probably a topic for a different show. I'm sure would be a great topic because you can name some really good old games and really good new games and compare what you feel is better or not better about board gaming. I think it's becoming more mainstream. It still hasn't taken over, like video gaming, I think is still very high in the billions. So I don't think it's there yet, but I do feel that, again, from the first show that we discussed, that a lot of people are missing that cooperative socializing with a board game in front of you and having that moment to sit around and enjoy each other's company. And I think it's becoming more and more popular due to that big absence we had of not having that in our life. So, and it's good. I think it's all good. I think it's all good for the industry. I think that's amazing that SPIEL hit their record numbers. It's the largest in the world for a reason. So I think they had a crazy amount of people from all over the world going. I think it was like 93 different countries or something like that. It was nuts number. I don't know the number exactly, but I'm sure you have it in your notes.
Some of us prepare.
Some of us don't. We just show up. We're already here. So
I'm not gonna lie to you. You said 200,000, and my anxiety went up like 5 levels because
well, the place is huge too. So I mean,
but 200,000. I mean, that's a lot. Now,
That is a lot of
board
a week.
gaming here. I think it is here more because I can see the diversity is happening too. Because that's what I feel like when you get here, when you have more like different spaces in the place, and I feel like we're growing in different areas and different diverse spaces. So that makes me feel like it's here. It's not quite here, but it's getting there.
Do you ever see that there's a point where, as these crowds get bigger and bigger, the opportunity for board games to get on the same level as video games? Do you ever see that, or do you think video games just hit such a bigger, more broad audience?
I think video games definitely hit a more broad audience and a more like everybody has a PC. Well, not everybody, but people have PCs, people have PlayStations. They've been using PlayStations for all their lives. They've been doing Xbox for all their lives. And so they have the huge head start, especially because like board games, was made before video games, obviously. But since how board game culture has come in like everywhere, it's such a huge thing that you can get like some people who will never even think touch a video game will play video game. And so I don't think board game is not at that level yet. I think there's still a little barrier to get to that point, but it's definitely getting bigger.
well, another thing is you have mobile games, which is right on your phone always, right? And so when you're bored, you just go, and you're going to play a little mobile game. So nobody has like Uno in their back pocket all the time, or whatever board game.
If you have the app.
If you have the app, you have Uno in your back pocket. But and then that's another podcast that we need to discuss on that. But nobody is carrying Rococo under their arm to go to the doctor's office, right? But you always have that game. So I think because of the availability of video gaming and what it does still, I mean, it still hits, and you don't need anybody to play with you. You can play by yourself. And some board games you can, Shay. I know, don't some board games you can play by yourself, but most people that I think are getting into it like to play with other people, and that's where I think. So I think it has a place, especially now more than ever, because video games have steered away from that. Mm-hmm. It's rare that you see a split screen video game come out anymore new. I think that the new one, Diablo, had it, or was it the one that just came out, the video game that just came out? I steered away, even though everybody probably that's listening to this podcast bought it. Baldur's Gate.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think that the reason why they delayed it on the Xbox was because they wanted split screen, right?
Right. Well,
Which
let's be honest,
is rare.
but with video games, you don't have to learn the rules.
Yeah, but you
have
just
to
jump
go-
in, push start, and go, right? I mean,
Right.
so that's part of it. And I think as we continue to do videos like Learn to Plays and things that are make it accessible, I think that's one of the reasons why Voss Media Board Game Cafe was really popular to people, because they come in and I teach them the game. They don't really have to learn. They can go, I want to play that. And like most of these games we know offhand, Shay and I, and also Brian, who helps us out here as well. We can pop out the game and teach it to you rather fast. And we've got a good community that's willing to do that to get you into the game. So
Yeah.
I think with all of our events we run, that has helped that community grow.
Yeah. So with that said, of course, with any industry leading conference, you are always going to have the one thing that everybody gets so excited about, which is new releases. I thought we could do that together. I thought it was going to be really
You
neat.
need to time this.
You need to let us know.
I thought it was just going to.
That's
Like,
on
I
you.
looked at you both in the eyes, and I thought we'll
We'll
get there. Episode 30, we'll just be able to look and we'll know. It'd be wonderful. Anyways, new releases, which is everybody's favorite part of every industry conference. So with that said, gentlemen, Shay, we'll start with you. What games that were announced or were at a Spiel really attracted you to something you're excited coming out?
I'm not gonna lie to you. The game
I
that
swear, if you say Final Girl 3,
that wasn't announced, that there's a pin.
I think that was right after Gen Con. I think they announced that one.
Yes.
But-
I just wanted to.
But he did plan it perfectly in between the two, which was really good. But go ahead.
It is called Tiny Mini Golf. It is a print and play where you make a golf course and then the other players try to win the golf course and try to get the best place. And it's by an indie designer. And I love the accessibility of print and plays. Like,
Okay.
I think a lot of indie designers are really going towards that because it is the most cost effective way to make a game because you just send the PDF.
So how do they make money off that? You just go buy the PDF, and then download it and play it.
And it's
Okay.
only like maybe $5, $10 if you want like something special. And so that's how you do it. It's just have a good love playing and
So is that like available like on a certain website or something, or someplace you go and like you just search print and play games and it pops up to where you buy
it's
and play
many
it?
places you can get. You can go to itch.io and get plays. Of course, crowdfunders do different print and play things, but it's like there's different sites that you can go to get print and plays, and some of them are free, just people who just love making games, and some of them you pay a little bit, but it's not like you're not paying $500 or like $100 on a print and play.
Well, and kind of leading into Dion, one of the things that they did have for the participants were a section where they would get to sit and play the games. And so then they were asked to give scores on all of the games as they were leading. So Dion, I'm sure you can list, and I'm sure some of your favorite ones will be on this list, but the top several games that were rated, number one was Age of Innovation. And as somebody who has actually seen this game, I will say, Dion, if this is one of your favorites, you are going to have to innovate some ways to get me excited about it, because moving things from here to here just did not get me. Great Western Trail, New Zealand, Free to Play, Revive, which has been getting a ton of press.
Well, and it just got copies coming in because they've been gone for so long. But Revive, I said at the beginning of the year it was going to be the game of the year, and it ended up not being. And I really enjoyed it. And so it doesn't surprise me that it was getting a 4.8, 4.7, 4.8. I can't remember exactly which one, but it was up there. It was high.
Yeah.
What they were ranking out of 5, which is pretty good. So people that played it enjoyed themselves with it.
Yeah. And just the last couple I'll mention real quick, Hegemony and Voidfall, we're kind of rounding those out. So Dion, having this big extensive list with all these booths that were there, what were the games that caught your attention?
Well, really, I was going through the list and I was just looking like, ooh, do I have that on my shelf? Oh, I got that one on my shelf. And 1 and 2, I believe, in the picture that showed the people that were ranking them from the different halls. There were 2 halls or big areas, I guess. I don't know if they were actually halls, and they had demos going on, and they would come back, I guess, to the booth and rate them based on what they played was getting the better rating from each hall. And the 1 and 2 from one of the halls I actually have in the store, and I ended up ordering last week, getting it in, not knowing it was going to be that well of an accepted game. The Darwin, I think it's Darwin Innovators. Is that the one? Is that the name of it?
No,
You've got it in front of you.
Darwin's Journey.
Darwin's Journey, yeah. That one was rated really high. It didn't look that good when I got the box in. I was like, yeah, maybe. But it was rated really high, so I'm excited to probably get that one to the table and see if it plays as good as it's rated. Revive I know is, and we have that in the other room. I was just excited to see some of the games, and even a couple of them that I've had on the shelf for a while was actually rated very high there. There was one I think was rated 7 or 8. I'm trying to think of the name of it now, but it's like the Explorers Guild of Explorers. That's what it was. Guild of Explorers.
Mm-hmm.
Or Guild of Merchant Guild of. Thank you, Brandon. Merchant Guild of Explorers. And it was rated 6. That one was a game that was really fun because it was almost like a flip and play where you flip the card over and everybody at the table can do something based on that happen. And I call it like a flip and play, but like a roll and write kind of style. And it's one that has a very good depth to it as well. And they give you 4 maps for each player that you can play different sides of. And then it gets a little difficult, and it's a lot of fun. I think I was really surprised to see those games marked as high as they were and people enjoying them. But again, I wasn't really surprised. I was just trying to see what I had in stock as a retailer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I need to order more of those. Those are really like.
What's a great cheat sheet?
It is. Because usually when you see stuff at Essen, you get really excited about it, and we don't see it over here until 7-8 months, maybe even a year sometimes before we actually get access to it on this side of the water.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a Germany release. So there was a few of them on there that I was like, ooh, that looks really good. They were doing a demo of one, and I put notes on there, so you're gonna have to read it off for me. But it's on the first page there. It was Civolution, Civolution, I think was. I think it's from that paper, because now I don't want to know, and now I don't want to look like a complete moron. Hey, I did keep notes. Stephen Field, Civolution demo on site, was like a 4-hour demo on site. And that one, I went and Googled it and looked it up, and I was like, oh, that looks really good. And I was watching some demos of it, and I thought that was going to be I'm very excited to get my hands on that one. I can't find it anywhere to get yet, but I'm excited, which is probably still going to be 6 to 8 months away before I can get my hands on that one. But yeah, there's a few of them in there I really enjoyed that was ranked pretty high within that 4.0 and above.
Yeah, I would say the ones that caught my attention, I love the big 4X games, Twilight Imperium, Eclipse, to name a couple of them. But Voidfall was one that I actually didn't back on Kickstarter when it had come out. Now it's getting a retail release from Mindclash Games, which is going to be great for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Voidfall has been getting phenomenal reviews and kind of that space battler 4X type of engaging game, which again, if you get the play group, which is always a problem with 4X, and that can be a conversation another day, but when you get that group together that really can buy in to the experience together, to me, it's one of the best experiences that you can have in board gaming. A couple others that caught my attention were Through Ice and Snow from Tomato Games. That one, it's got kind of this, I don't want to say apocalyptic feel to it, but you're basically playing these settlers trying to survive through this horrible ice storms you're getting through. And of course, it's about a lot of it's a point base. It's going to be a Euro based game, but the aesthetics of that one looked beautiful. I do have this one already, but Hedge Money is a big beefy game.
I seen it played here actually. Someone brought it to the store. Paul, I believe, brought it to the store, and he pulled it out, and they played a couple rounds of it. I was watching it on that table over there, and it looks really good. It actually looks like something I would enjoy. You're playing different levels,
right?
Of like,
well,
you're playing like the low class, the middle class,
play socialist. Somebody will play democracy. I mean, so it kind of your team, if you will, is a different form of economic structure, trying to compete with each other about who's, of course, going to end up with.
It's a good give and take. Something happens, and then two other things happen, and then so whether you lower wages for your workers, but then this over here affects the middle class and low class. So it's really unique, and it is a game I think I would enjoy, because it sounds like work and it sounds amazing. So.
And you do love that.
I do love that.
And the last one, since I do love my kids, that really caught my attention, bringing it back to sports, is Flamme Rouge, which is one of the best board games out there, especially for racing. The way that they incorporate the realities of real cycling into the board game.
They're bringing that back through?
Well, no, what they're doing is a BMX version.
Oh, okay.
So it's, Everdell did this with like My Everdell, and they did My Little Scythe and things like that.
Oh, so they're doing it for the kids version.
Yeah.
I was wondering why you said you loved your kids.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I think it's going to be, because it's got cartoony graphics, so they're going to take the mechanics and kind of really boil them down like those two games did.
I don't really like my kids, so.
Well, you better like them too, because somebody's got one that's going to pop out any day now.
Any day.
So with that said, now I'll tell you one that did get a lot of love there, that I had a chance to play this at Gen Con, and I thought it was so Everdell came out with Far Shore, which is actually a new separate game. So think of it as all of these expansions for Everdell are effectively at this point the completed game, which is why the box is about yay big and about yay wide now. But this is kind of that next step, and I watched it played, and honestly, it did not do it for me at all. It felt like a rehash, to the point was going to kind of lean to our next conversation.
You got to be careful with that, dude. People kill over Everdell here. They love it. And I don't.
Everdell's a great game.
I'm going to sound horrible, but I don't see the draw. I mean, it was okay. It's cutesy characters, and it has great table presence. I love the big tree, which kind of stepping into some of our other topics, but there's some table presence that was really nice about the game. The problem, it didn't click for me. And I love engine building, and I love deck building, and it has a little bit of those elements in it. So it just didn't do anything for. I didn't like it. So you got to be careful though, because there's people that are like, Everdell's my favorite game, and I just go, okay, I agree with you.
And I will say this: I had a chance to meet the two, the husband and wife that made the game, and they are just absolutely wonderful people. Like, they're the kind of people that you want to see be successful. And, a segment that we're creating on the side for Champions of Table Talk that hopefully will come soon. This might be a good couple to try to get an interview with, but they have a great story and again, just good people. So I don't want to drag them down, because Everdell is a good game, but it's just, to me, this feels unnecessary. So, so with that said, anything else anybody wants to add with Essen and what they saw?
I saw a game, but I cannot remember the name.
Of course, that's the problem with games. There's so many now.
So many.
You can't remember the name.
I even went to
96 booths.
I even went to like
How many
BGG.
booths?
I think there's 96 booths.
96.
Wow.
No, I can't.
Your anxiety level's rising again.
Yes, it is. Because that's 200. That's Spiel.
No, I lied to you. It was 935 exhibitors is what I meant to say.
Wow.
935 exhibitors from 56 different countries.
But then Brandon wanted me to point out that it was in Europe where there's like 45 of those countries that are all right there slammed together.
It's true.
So they just drove a little bit.
One other topic to kind of wrap up with Spiel 2 is much like what happened at Gen Con, for any of you who went to Gen Con, and leave comments below if you did and tell us your experience. But Ravensburger was there.
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
Let's just say they were the cool kids at the party again, bringing out Lorcana. The queue was so insane that they had to actually completely change the waiting lines, similar to effectively what they had at Gen Con. So, Ravensburger, huh?
Lorcana. Go ahead.
You want me to go? You go first. Go ahead.
So
Go ahead. Sorry.
It's simple for me. Lorcana is legal crack. That's what Lorcana is. Everybody wants it. They have a little itch for it. When they see it, they go for it. And I can't. I remember going to Gen Con. I remember seeing that line because I really wanted to. Actually, that brings a bad point. I really wanted to get a card at Gen Con because they were supposed to have Goofy there. But they end up having Mickey, so I didn't even want to anymore.
I think they swapped it. I think they took Goofy to the next event they went to. But
yes, but they promised. Anyway.
Well, I've only been doing this for a short period of time, like a short period compared to a lot of other retailers that are in the market. And I do something way different than they do, of course. But I have never had to this date a company tell me, like usually you order and you say, you know what, I want 10 boxes of that. And they go, nah, we'll give you 2 because that's all we can give you, right? This is the first time ever in the history of me doing any ordering. And of course, I wasn't around when Magic was running, years ago, whatever. But they told me what I'm getting. Like I didn't even get to ask. I was like, hey, I would like it. And they go, this is what you're getting. And
you will
appreciate what we're giving. And they just told me, these are the numbers you're getting. That's it. So it scares me that we're going to continue having this scarcity for a while now, which means that you're still going to see $350, $425 a box. Cause I just looked at eBay today and they were selling for $340, $350, selling on eBay at that price. Mm-hmm. So it is a little scary.
But they did just announce another reprint.
Of Chapter 1 before Christmas. Yes. But they didn't announce if they're going to mark the card any differently, which is concerning to me for people who collect, because they struggled and they paid $250, $350 for a box of Chapter 1. And then you go, oh, don't worry, we'll reprint. But if people that don't want to wait for it, they're going to pay because I know that if I didn't get to pick mine, I guarantee some of these stores didn't get to pick theirs either. Ravensburger just said, this is what we're giving you. And if you're a Play Store, you get X because we're a Play Store even. So you're going to get X amount of product. Mm-hmm. And I imagine that probably, hopefully, I don't even know. I haven't even checked with some of my friends in the industry, but hopefully some of the bigger stores got more of the product. I have never seen anything like this, even as a consumer in my entire life. It's insane. But you would think, and not to beat up on Ravensburger, but you would think they would know that, right? Like you would think as a businessman looking into it going, hey, we're getting the Disney IP and hey, we're creating a CCG, a card collecting game, right? And it plays pretty cool too. It doesn't play like crap. You think they would know this going in? Ooh, we should really order a bunch of it. And then not only that, but hey, let's test the market with the first one. Oh, the first one was really good. Triple the print on the second one. No. Same print, same numbers I got from the first one, I'm getting for the second one.
Yeah. Shay?
Oh, they knew that in the beginning. That's why they have scarcity. That's basic economics.
Well, that's demand money. I'm sure.
That's a supply demand.
That bothers me a little bit because on one side of your mouth you're going, hey, I want everybody to be able to get this game and play it, so we're going to reprint it, right? But then on the other side of your mouth, we're going to create scarcity and make it a collectible card game.
Well, they learned from Nintendo, the masters of of created scarcity.
They're pretty good at it too. Yes, but
That's your marketing money at play without having to spend any.
yeah.
It's actually brilliant, really, when you think about it.
It is, but it also creates this huge, especially in today's market with the internet and everything, it creates this huge secondary market that now, as retailers, I look at and go, man, why would I give my boxes? And you want to create play areas, but you're fighting this back and forth battle as an owner of a store that go, man, they're selling for $350 online. Maybe I should sell them online for $350. Like that's some good money.
Well, there's not many 12-year-olds walking into your store with $350.
Yeah, right.
Ready to drop on a box, which gets back to the question of how important is a community versus the ability to make money.
I know in today's industry, loyalty doesn't go far, and no matter what you're carrying. I mean, you've proven that with last week's conversation regarding Kickstarters. Loyalty doesn't go very far. You have a small group of people that show loyalty, and that's what you're going to get. Mm-hmm. And you have to do the best you can do for that small group. Mm-hmm. So beyond that, they would if the card shop opened up down the road and charged $5 less, guess what? They'll just go down the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and so that's with big box, with online, with Amazon. There is no loyalty in any kind of retail. You can't expect that there's no agreement we have when you walk into a store that, hey, you're automatically loyal to me and me only.
What was it that I signed when I walked in here?
Well, that was different.
Oh.
Yeah, that was your life.
I'm sorry, honey. I don't know what I signed.
Life. So. But anyway, yeah, that was crazy. I read the article and I thought it was insane that they had to move venues in order to make sure they had the line that was so big for Loricon. It was crazy. Yeah. It just shows the hype is crazy. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen in anything in retail from as far back as I can remember. I don't remember Pokemon when it was released being this crazy. And that was 1999, and I don't remember that being this insane. Of course, with the internet, with the hype machine, everything else, but yeah. But moving on, sorry.
So I think that really does a great job, though, of exemplifying the fact that board games are a growing cultural phenomenon. And that just kind of hits home the fact that they were able to pull so many people from so many different parts of the country to share their love of board gaming, which is why, gentlemen, we run this podcast for all of you. So let's move on to the second piece of news. This has to do with expansions. So a lot of the news headlines over the last week that I saw were this game was getting expansions, games like Deep Rock, which hasn't even gone to retail yet. It's already getting their first expansion. Nemesis is coming out with one. Another one that was at SPIEL, Sea Salt and Pepper from Pandasaurus Games, a nice little card game. That's already getting an expansion. Twilight Inscription got an update to rules for an MMO version. So with that said, it got me thinking of, and this also applies to video games too, how do you feel with all of these games that come out with the different sources, whether they be retail, whether they be crowdfunding, where the base game is coming out at launch with 3 to 4 expansions already with it? Shay?
Is nothing wrong with a good expansion. Here's the problem. If you're using expansions to be like a crutch to the main game, I want an expansion that just brings a little bit more to the game that I already love. So I know I say this company a lot, but Final Girl, I know
you play other games, right?
I play other games, but that's the point. That's the only expansion stuff I get. Mm-hmm. Because
that's almost like a complete different game every time though, right? Like you're buying a whole nother game. Mm-hmm. You're not expanding on it. So like when you play it, you play through, you finish that. When you buy another $20, $25, I don't know exactly. I think it's $20. I should know. You buy another $20 story. Mm-hmm. That doesn't expand on your current story. It's a whole different story.
Because you can mix and match the girls and
you can mix and match all that stuff. That's what I'm saying. It's a different way of a game, but it's the most expansion I get. Because except for games like I said, you need to add on to it. Because I can think of Dice Throne. I have a couple Dice Throne things, so those are kind of like expansions. But I wouldn't get an expansion that I think the game was so bad that the expansion would help it.
And see, I think you brought up a really good point. You said to start this, I'm good expanding a game I love if I think it's going to make the experience better. Mm-hmm. But the question is how do you know if you love a game when it literally has just hit the market. So like I'll think of like The Witcher as a great example. Now I have thoroughly enjoyed the copy of The Witcher that I got from Voss Media Board Games in Galesburg, Michigan. But the point is it also irritates me that you had at launch all of these expansions that could go with it. Now, deluxeification, we're going to get to that in a minute in the pit, but all these expansions that came with the core box, to which I say, why is that not just in the box? Why do I have to pay another $65?
Yeah, because it was a Kickstarter. That's why. And all of those were Kickstarter's extras that were sides that you could have got with the entire purchase.
And games.
No, I agree with what you're saying. And I understand what you're saying. But there's also, and probably Shay can back me on this, having to deal with pricing and trying to keep it at a reasonable price. There's also a point where you build this game and it has all these awesome different things, and you go, I'm costing way too much to print this. So how do I dumb it down to a point where I'm still giving you a taste, but I'm also staying within my budgets of making sure the retail store gets a cut, I get a cut, the publisher makes a little money. Like, how do I make it hit that number, right? And the hot number may be $50, and with all the expansions, you're at $99, right? So that's why I think we were, for a period of time, we don't see it much anymore, but you were seeing big box, right? Like you can get Quacks for Queldingberg, or you can get Queldingberg big box, right? Mm-hmm. And which was really good, because then it gave me all the expansions loaded into one box that I wanted to put on my shelf for $100, where I can buy just Quacks for 50. And then if I want to buy X expansion, it's 30, that type of thing. So I think that's what happens with a lot of those games when it's a different beast for me when we're talking about from where I came from, the video game industry, to where that used to irritate me like none other. You buy a game and then it's like day one, they're also like, oh, here's for $20 more, you get this expansion. And I'm like, why don't you just put that in the game?
Right.
Like, why am I doing I think it's different from, to me anyway, and I just explained it, but I think it's different for a board game, because a board game, you're trying to figure out how you can cut corners and still give the experience without taking anything back. Mm-hmm. Do I want more stuff in my game for the same price? Absolutely. Who doesn't, right? Who doesn't want more for the money that they're paying? But I also don't want to not price me out of purchasing it in the first place. Mm-hmm. So if it's like $140, but you get this and you get that and you get that, well, I can't afford $140, right?
I can even give you a good example of a game I don't own that if they would have not made because you brought Nemesis, right? Mm-hmm. Nemesis is really cool. Nemesis has those great minis. I still haven't got the game because it's $200. If they would have made even they start doing like acrylic type miniatures where it's just a 2D, but you can see through
the standees.
The standees. If they would have made that, mm-hmm. and then it would have been like maybe $100, because minis are like expensive.
Yeah,
like they're so expensive, and so I feel like that is the crutch of why you want expansions. Like you were saying, it makes a game more accessible to people, and then if they like it, they can buy in and get more. So yeah.
I think for me, just that consumer.
Yeah, because money's no option for you because your wife doesn't look at your checkbook.
She's a wonderful person.
No, I'm sure she's amazing. I'm just saying that.
But it's still, like I said, to me, it's still going to be one of those things that always irks me. Again, I'm with you though on the video games too. Anytime I see that day one thing,
yes, I get
it just really bothers me, because it's hard as a consumer not to look at that and just think, you had it day one, and maybe this is because we're older, right? Let's just admit it. Time passes. We all get older. But I think in my mind, when I think of expansion, I think you're adding on to something that has existed, and therefore it needs to come at a later date. That's how expansions always were handled in the past, where now we just live in a different world where here's your game, and then here's 12 expansions that come with it if you want to buy them. I don't know that I.
And I think and the difference is, if you can get in at $30 for this game that was going to cost you $150, but you can get expansions to make it go to $150.
Well, then why not offer at least a discounted price to get them all at once?
But then you have different, production issues. You have big box. You have to do different.
SKUs,
you got different SKUs. So I mean, I think it's just something they struggle with. because they want to stay within a reasonable amount. And I've talked to enough publishers that I know and designers that I know that they struggle with this. Like, I really want this to be $30. Well, gosh, if I remove this and this, I can release an expansion later. We have a local guy that comes to our game workshop that we have for publishers here at Voss Media, or for designers, here at Voss Media. And he struggles with the same thing. He wanted his game to be more deluxeified, which we'll talk about in a bit, but he had to narrow it back down, and he's going to have to release it as an expansion down the road. How do you feel on that same subject, but a little different? How do you feel about Heat that was released, and you obviously can tell that was they even had like spots on the board where they're going to release more cars, or they even had like the 8 players, and it only started with, you know what I'm saying? Like, you obviously, when you open that box, you're like, where's the rest?
Right. Or
they're
when you see the game trays built, and it's like there's open spots, and you're like,
so wait a minute. They had to pull some things back from that,
right.
And then they want you to be able to. Well, then they pitch the whole. Well, it all can fit in one box.
Right.
Buy this other box, right? So I mean, that irks me a little bit, but I also
my answer to your question would still be, again, that's a tougher one, because I like when companies give you the growing room in the box. I'm good with expansions coming. I'm good with more content coming. Like Shay said, I'm good supporting a product and giving them more money to get more content, especially if it adds to the quality of the game. So to know that they built in the mindset of, we know there's going to be more cars coming. We know we're going to have bigger races. We know they're going to be able to do more with more tracks. That doesn't bother me as much, because I mean, Heat's been out, 2 years now, and they still haven't released anything for expansion.
Gosh, I can't even keep it in stock still. It's still hard to get.
So from that perspective, I guess that doesn't bother me, because then what I think is maybe they're taking the time with those extra tracks to play test them and to make sure that they're quality products that they're going to release. I know it sounds weird, but I'm good with that. For me, it really is. It's the slap in the face of the day one that always agitates me, because the day one stuff is, hey, here's your game. Oh no, by the way, here's everything else we want you to buy. And that's, I think, the part that gets me, the day one.
What about, and just have me throw this out there from off screen, Ark Nova's map pack expansion. It comes with 2 maps for a 4-player game. You have to buy that expansion twice in order to play a 4-player game.
Yeah, that's no bueno for me. I'm bringing the Spanish out.
Really? Whoa.
Yeah.
Hit us with a Spanish.
That's
you don't
all
even
I
understand.
know,
That's
wild.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Let me explain why they do that, though, too, is you're supposed to shuffle the maps up and randomly. When you're at that point of the game where you've already played the basic, where everybody, because there's only a couple of ones that are all the basic ones, right? You got the A and I think the B are the basics. And then from there, you're supposed to shuffle the rest of them up and then randomly hand them out or draft them of some sort in order to make the game more enjoyable for replay value. So they only give you 2 maps because they don't want everybody to have the same maps.
I would agree with you if all 4 maps in that pack were different, but they're 2 sets of 2 maps.
Yeah, but there's a front and a back. So you get 2 sets of 2 different maps.
Yeah. So if you're going to shuffle it up, then all 4 should be different so that all 4 people get a different map. Not 2 people get the same map and 2 people
you get the same map, but you flip it over and it's a different map. You know what I'm saying? So since you got the one with this map, I would flip it over and get the back side of the map. So, I mean, I understand what their thought process was. I agree with you. They didn't execute on it very well. But again, cost or whatever else they were trying to stay with, which I think they're still pretty expensive for just 2 maps.
I think it was a $60, $70 title.
No, the game itself.
Yeah.
Not the map, the extra maps.
Oh,
the extra maps, I have them in the other room. I think it's like $15 or something for 2 maps, which means, like you said, you have to pay $30 to get 4, which is a little ridiculous for basic maps that you're just going to place things on. I mean, you can
and
pretty
again,
much
those came out
them
with the core, so that
shortly
was something that to me it was like,
we forgot these. Oh, put them separately. Like
we intended to do that.
Yeah,
it was not an accident.
We
Nothing
swear.
To see here, we promise.
Yes, I don't know if that's a real thing or not, but I agree with you. What you're saying, Brandon. Off stream, Brandon.
Off stream, Brandon. One day when we get some subscribers, we'll be able to get another camera. So if you want to see Brandon's beautiful face, gotta like and subscribe.
I would not pay for that at all.
So with that said, Brandon, cue me up here because everybody. We are going to go
to the page.
Much better? Yeah, okay, good.
We're getting it down. See, he was on
point
I'm
this
playing
time.
with that one. I
Yes.
appreciate that.
Well, you also pre-led him with
It
like
doesn't
Brandon.
matter.
But
It doesn't matter.
So,
Right. I mean,
you know what happened?
that's
He
the
knew.
main
So it's
thing.
like, guys, follow me,
He knew.
and then you hit it. So
He knew.
Okay.
So that's going to lead into the pit. So this is the part of the show where we're going to roll the sleeves up and we're going to get into it with a hot topic. And this week we've been alluding to it quite a bit, but we're going to talk about deluxification of board games. It is running wild, everybody. One could even argue it's the thing that's actually pushing crowdfunding is deluxification to a real high
I agree with
extent.
that.
So let's talk about it, gentlemen. Dion, we'll start with you. How do you feel about deluxification? If you're pro, what are some of your favorites?
I love anything with metal coins. Like you're like, here's metal coins, and I'm like, take my money. I don't know what it is. I just like to play with metal coins or deluxify the pieces in the game with like items of, I don't know, the wood looks like wood instead of a brown square. Right? It's stupid, but I really enjoy the game more, and I think table presence is extremely important to me. You can keep me involved if the game is really good, if the table presence is low. But if the table presence is low and the game is crap, I want nothing to do with that game ever again. You've shot me away one, and then people are like, oh, you didn't try it like this. You'll never get me back to the table. But there are one of our members bought us for the store here this really cool iron clays
From Roxley Games.
from Roxley. Yeah, is it from Roxley?
I highlighted those when I was getting
collection?
my top
They're
publishers.
really nice. This is just this is just poker chips. But what you do is you take all those crappy pieces that are in the game, the punch out little cardboard, and you start adding these for the ones and the fives and monies and so forth. And thank you so much for Josh Davis, who gave those to us as a gift for Board Gaming Cafe here, because we use them quite often in most of our games. And we enjoy those very much. We also have some other pieces that we try to deluxify, of course, and help out. But that's more of like a accessory than a deluxification. But I agree with you. I think you pull out any game that has been deluxified and the one that isn't. A great one. I'll mention real quick, and then I'll let Shay go. The Mosaic.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at that game and I was like, $250 for the deluxified version of that?
That's a
There's
big
no
box,
way.
too.
There's no way I would pay that ever. And then I was like, nobody will pay that.
That's all everybody did.
Yeah, well, and I'm like, that's insane. And I played it. And I played the first one first, Mosaic, and I played it. And I was like, this is probably one of my favorite civilization builders is Mosaic. Anyway, we got the game to the table with the deluxified version, and I thought I'd pay that in a heartbeat. No problem. The game is already $80-$90. I'll throw $100 on top of that easy and buy that game.
Mm-hmm.
$250 for that easy because the pieces were nice. It made the game better. The army was actually standable instead of just a little cardboard cutouts.
Once you go deluxe, you can't go redux.
Hands down. What? Yeah, really? Is that what
That's
you're
a
going?
brain burner.
It's okay.
Just think on that. Marinate it.
So I really enjoyed it. And I actually bought a copy of the deluxified version to keep in the store. And I thought, well, that's going to set on the shelf for a while. And then I get to keep it myself because I do that quite often. If it sits too long, I go, ooh, let's add that to my collection. Anyway, it sold very fast. I think it didn't last a day. And I cried a little, but it was also something that is sold to one of the members here that brings it back and lets me play it every once in a while. So anyway, that's a really, I enjoy. You're not going to knock deluxification, but it's also, it's another add-on, like you were saying, expansions. It feels very expandy to me, and it creates something that the game, I feel, needs. We were in a meeting, and this is the last thing. I already said that, but this is the last thing. We were in a meeting, and the guy that does, I'm trying to think, it was Awakened Realms guy, or no, Forgotten Realms guy. Two different companies.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, well, nobody's going to pay that for a board game. How many of your stores would buy this and put it on your retail shelf? And every retailer in that group, we would buy that with a heartbeat. It was the Rome one, the Fall of Rome one,
Mm-hmm.
with all the deluxified cases. I don't know if you've seen that
Gray
one.
Fox, right? Gray Fox Games, I think.
Is it Gray Fox? But it was deluxified one of those. And they go, well, nobody's going to buy, and everybody shot their hands up. We would buy that in a heartbeat, without hands down. Because it is a really well done.
It adds a lot, especially with the castle that you're building and the little people and the pieces that go on it as you're building the castle out. It makes a big difference. I agree with that.
Well worth it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, where's my camera? My camera's right here. My camera's right here. Is this the camera? This is the camera. No, I don't
Shay's wrong this week.
Shay is completely wrong this week.
No, but this is why. For hobbyists, I get you. You want the glass vials. You want the nice tokens, the metal things.
It's because you have a heartbeat.
It's amazing. But I am always thinking about, okay, it's a nice game. Who is going to be able to get it? If you have like a deluxe version and then a base version of it, which some games do, then I'm okay. I don't need to buy the deluxe version to play this game. I can still enjoy this game and have cardboard pieces, which isn't bad. I get the deluxe. Like, I get it. It looks beautiful. Like, even like I would do like Final Girl, and I'm talking Final Girl. Let's talk about a different game that I got deluxe.
Please.
Actually, no, I don't have anything because I don't do deluxe. I can't even think of anything. Like, literally.
But you did buy the mat. You deluxified it with the mat. You deluxified
That's the only game.
What about if like Heat came out with like painted F1 minis?
This comes from the same person who doesn't sleeve their games.
But I don't, because you don't. Oh my God, he doesn't sleeve your game. Team No Sleeve, you know where I'm at. We're gonna put this on TikTok, y'all, huh?
Team Cheeto Fingers.
No sleeves. That's how things get dirty.
No. That's a whole different pit. I'm not gonna go into that.
You're right.
We're in the pit, baby.
Put that on the list.
You just
but I can't. Like,
keep it clean
because
Kids
like
show.
I want to play a lot of these games, and I can't. Like,
But that's again for a different level. So I think the board game companies have to offer that.
Right.
I don't think, because there's a group of people that are really love this industry and want the deluxeified, look at what I have, put it out and show it off type of game.
But
I think you have to have that. You don't get me wrong, you have to have the cheap version for you. But you also have to have the really expensive, like, high dollar version. And as a retailer, I hate it because you got to buy 2 copies, and then you're hoping you really sell the deluxe because you spent a lot of money to keep that, right? Mm-hmm. But I also, again, usually buy the deluxe hoping nobody buys it, and I get to add it to my collection.
I'll just tell you this right now, Shay. It physically pains me to tell you are absolutely wrong. I even rolled my sleeves up coming into the pit because the simple fact is this. Yes, you could buy a Pinto and get from point A to point B in a car. But why drive a Pinto when you can have a luxurious Mercedes that's not only going to get there, but it's going to have the back massage, the leg warmers, the heated steering wheel, the 75 speakers. And when you go, I mean, you're not just going, oh, you're Kenny G, sexy and going. You know what I'm saying? And so I will just tell you this flat out. I am 100% behind deluxeification. I am your ideal customer when it comes to that. I'll give you a game right off the top of my head, right from my board, Oathsworn. They do have that standee version. And yes, you could play Oathsworn with the standees and moving them around if you wanted to feel like a complete pleb and not enjoy the game the way it's intended to be made.
Whoa.
This is a game that when you get the rat out, and we're going to put a little B-roll on this, but when you get that rat out, I'm putting work on you on top of it. When you get that rat out, and it's literally a 2-hander, and you literally have to lift it, just that experience alone, the table presence, I'm not playing a game, I'm living the game. I'm fearing the rats because I can actually see their beady painted red eyes looking right back at me as I'm moving my guy around, trying to take this monstrosity down. It is life or death on a table. I don't care that it's plastic. I fear a little bit.
Where's my camera? Where is it? It's right here. It's right here. Okay, cool. You're gonna have to. I'm gonna do something here. Come on, we're gonna bring it in.
What are you doing?
Don't listen to these two. Do not. Deluxeification, you can do deluxe. It's totally fine. It's totally good. But don't be mad when your game do not get sold more because you do not do a game. I can tell you right now. No.
Deluxeification is just adding extra.
You had your time. No. I said patiently. So, You are going to tell me that it's okay to have a game. I'm not talking about the games that gives you like the option of getting deluxification. I'm talking about the games that
That's
does
not what we're talking about.
No,
we're talking about deluxification in board gaming.
No. You said, in fact, the Oathsworn, there is
Andy.
There's a basic, there's a basic
but
version for
can
you.
also deluxify it. That's okay. But I'm talking about there's games that we play that's already deluxified that doesn't have a base game. So I'm talking about like
That's
your
different.
father's work.
That's the game. That is the game. It's
that
not
is the
deluxified.
because
It's
I'm
the damn
telling you,
game.
do you need the glass vials? Do you put anything in the glass vials?
You don't need half
Your hopes and your dreams in those glass vials.
It's part of the game to enjoy it.
But you don't like if you don't give an option to it. Yeah.
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
This is a Wendy's. Oh, can I get a
So back to the question though, Shay, the question is how do we feel about deluxification?
And deluxification doesn't have to be included already in the game. That's the game. It doesn't.
Yeah.
You don't deluxify it out.
It's a deluxe. Like you don't need metal coins.
Well, you don't need them, but
I don't even know who you are. I don't even know who you are anymore, Shay.
Is metal coins.
Did you ever watch when you were a kid DuckTales?
Yes.
Remember Scrooge McDuck, or not Scrooge? What was the uncle's name?
Scrooge.
It was Scrooge. When
You didn't watch it, but we
I
watched
watched it. When he was in the entry video, when he was swimming through the entire massive room of gold coins, and he spits them up in the air, and everybody's laughing, having a good time. That's what deluxification is like.
I get it.
And I'll tell you right now, you play Scythe, and you get those wonderful Stonemeyer game metal coins in your hand, and you just slowly let them drop and let it rain. You can never, once you go metal, you can never go cardboard. That's just a blatant fact. Like, subscribe, and more importantly, comment in below. I think this should be our poll question.
It is definitely our poll question.
Deluxification, yes or no? Because I brought in games of even the improved clay pieces, the neoprene mats. Are they necessary? Absolutely not. You don't have to have them to play the game. And I think, Shay, if you're trying to be mindful of, do I spend $80 on deluxifications or do I buy another game or two? If that is the conversation, yes, I can understand your opinion, but that's not what we're doing here in the pit. The pit is, do we deluxify or not? And the simple answer is, hence the reason the sleeves are rolled up. The answer is yes. You always deluxify.
Absolutely.
It's a no-brainer. Do I want to play with cardboard that literally breaks apart in my fingertips, or do I want metal that when somebody upsets me because they're blatantly wrong, I can just ping them with my, as we've learned, specialized dexterity skills? See, now is when you wish you played some dexterity games, because
I would need more of the flick there.
Right. Right now, Shade be getting some of those
right off the forehead there,
right in the.
Well, he could be wrong. It's okay to be wrong. He's wrong.
Well, this week he's wrong. Yep, that's right. So, Dion, welcome to the Winners Club this week.
I can't help myself. I'm usually here.
Pit, we all know who the winners are.
Obviously.
Pro Deluxification. Shay, you're 2-1, bud.
Yeah,
can't win them all. Can't win them all. Still go to the Hall of Fame at that rate. But
enjoy your McDonald's.
Some of us are still 3-0. So, with that said, as we leave the pit,
He's getting so mad.
we're gonna move on to this week's game of the week. This is our chance to spotlight a game that we have played or enjoyed, and we want to make sure that you're aware of. So I don't even, I'm going to start this off because I don't even want to take it to Shay. I don't know how he's feeling. I think he needs some deluxified
cooldown time.
So my game of the week, I think Brandon, our producer over there, has a graphic, but I'm going to put this here too. My game of the week from Roxley Games, as I already said, one of my favorite publishers is Radlands. This is a 2-player battler card game. It's very simple. There's no expansions, ironically enough. And it's basically one deck in the middle. And what you're trying to do is draw cards and attack the other player's base. You can play heroes in front of your bases to try to protect the base. It's a very simple game that you can teach somebody in 5 minutes. The mechanics are simple. The artwork is stunning. The components in it, Roxley's did a phenomenal job of deluxifying this game. Because
they do have a basic version, which is much smaller.
Yeah, it's just the cards, but the deluxified version has these beautiful tokens in it, the neoprene mats, which I would not play without it. That's how good they are. And I sent a picture over to Shay. Hopefully you can post it. But it was funny at Gen Con. I actually met the guy. I think his name's Adam Weiss, who created Radlance. I saw him, and he took a picture for me. Hopefully you can push through. And my 10-year-old absolutely loves this game. It's his favorite. We played it this weekend when we were camping. And my son's one thing from Gen Con was, Dad, please come home and tell me that they're going to make another version. And when I asked the guy who made it, he just simply said, probably not.
You ruined your son's dream.
Bro, no, I said,
broke
he's
his
going to
heart.
think about it.
He's going to think about it. Okay, good.
So Rob,
Good call.
please just think about it. It's a phenomenal game, and it's a wonderful game that's great to deluxify. So that's my spotlight of the week.
I think they made a wonderful universe around that game where it's like Mad Max style.
Mhm.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that about the game.
Artwork's fantastic.
Mine is going to be, I don't know, we're just going to go right to Shay last. Mine is going to be Nightmare Productions by Trick or Treat Studios, being the month of Trick or Treat.
Mhm.
Nightmare Productions is one of the games that we're going to do for our Spooktober Friday night spook event, which is our SmackDown event that we have once per month where we crown our champion and they take a copy of this game free home if they win for the night. What you're doing in this game is you're a studio and you're going around and you're trying to make the best horror film that you can make, and you get stars based on, and it's a bidding element. And I'm not a huge bidding fan, but I kind of enjoyed the bidding on this one. Usually games, if you say let's play a bidding game, I go, nah, I'm good. But in this one here, I really enjoyed the bidding element because when you actually bid, you're creating an economy at the table. So if I bid, they call them $1,000, whatever. If I bid $5,000 and I outbid everybody, I actually pay everybody at the table that $5,000. So it creates me being able to bid less. And that's one of the problems that I have with most bidding games is it just kind of runs away and then everybody gets re-upped and then it runs away again. And then you're just fighting to get the crap. Where this one, you can only stay on top for so long and then you're going to lose quite often at the end. So you're trying to build the best movies. Nightmare Production is a really good game to play, especially around Trick or Treat time. So from Trick or Treat Studios, Nightmare Productions is the game I wanted to highlight this week.
Shay, are you good yet?
Did you have your calm down time?
Let's see if Shay's good. I would show you my game, but because of deluxification, I don't own it. But it's a great
It is
game I
true.
played.
He's right.
It's a great game we played. It was called Nightmare Chapel. No, Nightmare. It's not called Nightmare Chapel.
No, it is not. Cathedral.
It's Cathedral. Thank you. Nightmare Cathedral. I wish I could see the box in front of me. But it's such a good game. You are a dreamer who is feeding these dreams into this nightmare, and it's like area control, but it's not really area control because you want your people to go away. Like you want them to get fed into the nightmares. You get points because of it, and it's just hits that spooky enough. And I'm gonna try to say because the game is by Board and Dice, but they based it all on this late artist, and the artist's name is Polish, but we're gonna try it. Gustav Bikczynski?
Bless you.
Sounded very fluent.
Bless you.
Gustav.
Just say it with confidence. Shay.
Yes. Nobody knows it. Yeah, there
I
you go.
think I'm saying it right. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it, but it's just the art.
I agree with that.
Is fun. It was a fun game, and yeah, I played it and I liked it.
Shay and I both played it the other day. Shay and I and Mike, one of our members here, brought it in to play it.
Do you know what
and
studio made it?
Don't like
Yeah, brought Board and Dice.
Board and Dice.
Okay.
And I don't like area control. I kind of enjoyed this game because when you select an action to do, everybody gets to do something. So you have actions laid out in front of you and you're able to do that action, and then everybody else kind of gets an action as well. So you're not sitting there, you care what other people pick at the table. So there's a little bit of table interaction that I really enjoy when they add that element into games, or that. So I did enjoy that part. I didn't really care for even though I won the game, I think. I didn't care for the area control a little bit, which isn't really area control, but there were some things but the art is, I won't fight you for that. It is absolutely beautiful, and the pieces are nice. And it is very deluxified because it has a big winged creature that you're moving around the board, and you're turning these like nightmare creatures that look absolutely amazing that you're walking through and destroying other people's forts that they built. It's a really amazing game.
I think the biggest
Well done game. I won't say it's amazing that I enjoyed it, but it's well done.
I think the biggest deluxifier of that game was the turn track of when something's going to happen.
yeah.
When you actually build the cathedral. after everybody's turn until you build it up, and that's where the nightmares come out. Physically, it looks amazing.
Well, I think you giggled out, or you actually made a ooh sound when you flipped over the board and it had where you're actually feeding it the nightmares.
The board had a nice little like mouth on it. It was
good.
Oh, it was good.
It was a really good game. It's not a game I can get my hands on, I believe. I have to reach out to them directly. I might be able to go through one of my other suppliers and get them because they work directly with them. But I was actually going to back it to sell here in the store, and I ended up backing away from that because shipping was getting a little crazy. And by the time I get it here and offer my discount that I offer my people, I won't be able to sell it for hardly anything. So it was one of the things that we didn't put in the store. But I thought the game was really well done. It's not a game I enjoyed per se, but I'm surprised you highlighted it this week.
It stood out. This is why it stood out. Is a game, because I played a lot of games this weekend. The game that popped in my head that I want to play again, and I would play the longer version. And my attention span don't even do longer games sometimes, and I want to play the longer version of that game because it's so interesting to me.
Yeah. And I think I'd enjoy it. I think with more players, it'd have been fun too.
Okay. So speaking of what stood out, let's go on to everybody's favorite segment of our show. And that is called, of course, Feet to the Fire. This is our chance to grill each other on a quick question where we need quick answers, no thoughts, just right from the gut. So this week, our good friend Dion, he is privileged to provide the Feet to the Fire question. So Dion, let's go.
My Feet to the Fire question this week is...
You don't have to say it so fast.
Because, your feet's on fire. You're trying to hurry up.
I'm nervous.
Well, exactly. So, because I have a retail store, and you, of course, have walked through my retail store very often. If you were to buy one game right now, what would it be off of my shelf? Has to be something I carry.
Something you carry.
I mean, there's 900 different copies in there, so it's got to be something you want in there.
Oh, man. Shay, he's looking at you. Go first.
No, you're
I'm
first.
looking directly, Mr. Feet on Fire. I'm looking directly. Oh, you're burning? What's wrong? Are you on fire? Are you burning down? Really? No, not in here. You got to be on my shelf
Let me
in the
help
other
you.
room.
Do you want detective? Is detective sound like okay?
No.
Oh, do you want?
Hey, don't
Of
help
course,
me.
I'm going to pick Skytear, right? My number one game of all time, sitting right over there on that shelf.
You wouldn't buy that right now because you own it.
I already own it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So,
All right,
did I get you on a Feet to the Fire? Did I?
No, I'll tell you what I'd buy.
want this.
I would buy the expansion that you have over there to smartphone, the mobile edition.
It's not an expansion. It's just a side. That's a whole side game.
Oh, see, I don't know. I would get that because
Well,
I
it's a whole side
really
game.
enjoy the game of smartphone.
Then you would really enjoy
guy
mobile.
who is in the business world. I loved the concept of smartphone, a game to bring in the ideas of building your own smartphone company out. I know they did come out with an expansion. I thought that's the one that was over there. But yeah, I would say that one right there.
Were your feet burned up during that
They
situation?
were a little toasty.
yeah, because remember when last time when
yeah.
you explained your game, somebody said, "Oh, this features a fire. This is not." By the way, just to answer your
Rapid
question
fire.
really quick.
Go ahead.
To answer, I want the Alien RPG GM screen.
Okay.
'Cause I really want to see that. Also, another thing I would really want is what's the game we just played? I can see It's a Wonderful World. I want It's a Wonderful World too.
Yeah.
But and there's also Detective. When I said I try to lobby one, and then Detective I really want to play because it's a Van Ryder game.
Well,
And
lucky
it's
for you, I don't have to spill anything, but we're in talks with Van Ryder for next month. So hopefully they'll sponsor us and
Brandon, what about you? Feet to the Fire.
Feet to Fire.
Well, first of all, Shay, you had 3 number ones there, so maybe
Okay,
learn
Back to the list. The
the
list.
list. But definitely the Clank expansion, the Acquisitions Incorporated. Clank is a great game that I play with my wife. So that Acquisitions Incorporated expansion looks super good.
Dion, Feet to the Fire. Which one do you pick?
Me? I'm going to pick one of my own games?
Yeah.
Revive. Right now. I would buy it. I would put it on the table and I would enjoy it because I do not have a copy on this
I
side.
think you already own it, though.
I don't have a copy on this side yet.
Mm-mm.
I'm getting a copy on this side because I can't handle it anymore. I'm blowing up inside. But I want to play it again.
That's one we need to play together. You need to teach me the rules. I'll bring my copy that I bought here, Voss.
The best game, and we talked about this earlier with Brandon. It's not like, oh my God, it's a 4 point whatever, 8 out of 5, 4.3 out of 5. But it is good. I really enjoy it. And I think it's the randomization in the beginning that makes me want to play it again and again and again because you're building this engine and it can never fire. So you're like, get to this point where you're like, gosh, I want to play this again because our engine building game ended and I never got my engine to really do what I wanted it to do. So I want to play it again. And they have enough characters to make the replay value fun and then the randomization. Brandon has played it quite a few times, and I don't think he has the same feeling I do about the game. But I would call it game of the year if I was picking game of the year, only because I enjoy it that much. I don't think it's in my top 10 or anything, but I do think it is. It's a game that has been recently released that I would like to get more time with.
Okay. Well done, Dion. I definitely say I'm leaving here about 13 inches shorter. So with that, before we wrap up, we definitely want to thank our partners of this week's episode, of course, Trick or Treat Studios. Definitely check out some of their big titles, especially the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes, we played that Thursday. It was really good.
Which is available now at Voss Media, and so definitely pick up that one. And of course, Voss Media, thank you for partnering with us on that as well. So with that, gentlemen, any closing thoughts as we wrap up this week?
No to deluxification.
Well, he's wrong on that. So the last closing thoughts I think you need to know is one, like, subscribe, check us out, YouTube,
Absolutely.
Spotify, and all the other media contents, and let us know your thoughts. We'd love any feedback with that. And with that said, thank you for spending your time with us this week. You could have done anything. You chose to spend it with us. We hope you enjoyed it. We look forward to next week, and have a wonderful, safe gaming time this weekend.
Put in the comments.
That one you didn't even do an outro.
I know, I didn't know what to say.
It's game on, or champions out, or dub on the haters. I don't know.
Dub on the haters.
Here, I'll give you the audio.
There you go.
Champions out.